All right, guys, we are live here trying to do some ManyChat and chatbot automations. I have brought on the guy who I rely on for it. I really like automations of any kind because it's scalability that we're really selling to our clients there. It allows us to take their energy and efforts, the conversations they have repeatedly, and it helps us to have that conversation an infinite number of times and only collect the answers that we want to collect. The scalability in it is just off the charts. So I've reached out to a guy that I know is an expert in the field. I wanted to just pick his brain. I'm going to interview him. Some of these questions you're going to hear me ask tonight are going to be as if I am a potential client. Sometimes it's if I'm the builder of it and I have questions about what he's doing or why he's doing it. You're going to hear me interject in a couple different ways, but you're going to hear some pieces about not only how to build it, but then how to sell it or what it does for the client so that you can use that as selling points. So Mike, I really appreciate you being with me. Tonight. You're the brainchild that has been recommended to me by numerous people that I highly respect. So really appreciate that, and everybody here is going to enjoy it. I'm really happy that we're able to steal you for a little bit, an hour, maybe a little more, if everybody wants to stick with us. So this is going to be totally free for everybody in the Ninja Marketing Solutions group. Everybody that wants to join the Certified Partner Program will obviously have much more access to Mike. He can even white label a bunch of work. Hint, I use him to white label a bunch of work. So if you are interested in getting some of this work done, he's the guy to talk to. So anyway, Mike, thank you so much for coming on and helping us out tonight, helping us learn a little something. Just in case anybody's wondering, it is 8:15 Eastern Standard Time. Mike and I both have beers, just in case anybody was on edge of their seat there. So, Mike, thank you so much. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then let's dive right into some chatbot automations.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So I've been in the marketing field for about 3 to 4 years now. Pretty much just fell in love with automation. I don't like wasting time. I know all the clients don't like wasting time either. So pretty much anywhere where I can find automation, I always jump on board. That's where I kind of found chatbots about 2 years ago, and then I just been making them ever since. And then I just kind of made a thing out of it. So
Excellent. I know Mike's got a fantastic background. You guys will learn more about this as you get to know him more, as we introduce him more and more into the program. But Mike's got a fantastic background on the pay-per-lead side, on the pay-per-click side. I've got a very strong background in the organic SEO and local SEO side. And one of the big things that you guys have heard me harp on is when we're ranking pages organically, what do we do with the people that come there, right? We build out these city pages. And normally the reason we're building these city pages is for the search engine. Well, a human lands there. How do we get their attention? You've heard me harp on it time and time again. We throw a chatbot in their face. The chatbot conversions are just through the roof. So that's why I wanted to bring Mike on and let him bridge the gap, teach us a little something that we don't already know about the chatbots, dig deep into that topic, and then we're going to look at a couple of different ways from the organic SEO side, the local SEO side, and the pay-per-lead side on how we can dig deep into that topic. Mike's going to come on several times if I can have him back. You guys enjoy it. So, Mike, I'm going to let you steer me in a little bit here, and I'm just going to pop in with questions. And if you don't mind, just field the questions as needed. And sometimes I'll ask you as a builder, or as I might be hiring you as a white labeler, or other times I might be asking like maybe an objection or something like that as a client for some clarification. So if you don't mind, just take it away, man. I'm going to let you drive for a little bit.
I'll just jump right in. Just stop me whenever you have any questions. So whenever I'm talking about chatbots, normally people are very confused right off the bat. They think that they're very complicated. They don't really know how they work. They just know that a robot's talking to you somehow. So the first thing I'm going to go over is what is the chatbot that we're using. Currently, the builds that I use are Facebook chatbots. So we use a platform called ManyChat, which allows us to communicate with the client automatically.
We're going to throw a link to that below in the description. Yep. You'll have links to everything. All the software that we're going to mention, don't try to write it down or whatever. We're going to throw links in it below. So don't worry about that. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching it on Facebook, wherever, there's going to be links to it so that it's easy for you to find.
Exactly. So pretty much what a Facebook chatbot is it allows us to communicate through the client automatically through Messenger. So we can do this in multiple ways. We can use a webhook URL. We could do it straight through Facebook ads, and pretty much it just keeps them on the platform that they're already on, which is Facebook. So if you are doing Facebook ads, if you are doing any kind of ads on Facebook, or if you're doing Instagram ads and you want to send them back to Facebook, that's always an opportunity for you. What you can also do with this is put a widget on any site, like Richard was mentioning. You can just put a little pop-up in the corner, but it only works if they have a Facebook account. So that is the key there.
ManyChat's been releasing their updates on their plugin about continuous guest. Maybe we can pick them up. We'll see what ManyChat does with it in the next couple of weeks. But to Mike's point, who visits your site that isn't logged in on Facebook? I would venture to say that more than 90% of your traffic is. So I don't think it's going to inhibit it. I think it's worthwhile. When I say that I think it's worthwhile, guys, I've been using chatbots for a while now, and like the conversion rates on it are silly. Like, do it. Do it. If you're already decent at the organic SEO side, the local SEO, do it, right? We're going to dive way into the pay-per-click stuff in the next few weeks, but on the organic SEO side, just getting that traffic that's coming to your page, figure out what they're looking for, right? Figure out what questions you normally have. If somebody was visiting your site and picked up the phone and called you, what questions are they asking? And are a lot of people asking the same stuff? Can you automate that? Well, that's what he's talking about doing. It just helps you basically hire your own secretary that works for you full time, right? So Mike, go for it.
Yeah, exactly. So pretty much like Rich was mentioning, you pretty much have a secretary 24/7. You only pay them $10 a month. That value right there is pretty substantial. You can't beat that. You can't beat that price at the moment. Another thing you can do, since you did mention paid, was if you are running Facebook ads, you definitely can do the widget. If you are concerned with only Facebook users using it, you can do a widget on the landing page just for Facebook in the bottom corner, so that you know that you're only getting Facebook users for that widget. That's another thing you can do if you are worried, but
hint, more to come.
More to come, exactly.
We got some more things in mind for you.
So some alternatives to ManyChat and Facebook chatbots are obviously just regular chatbots. ManyChat is updating constantly. Other platforms are updating constantly to kind of get more integration processes. Some that come to mind are Mobile Monkey. That's another specific Facebook Messenger bot. But then there's also Talk.to, which allows you to kind of outsource your bot. So instead of an actual bot talking to them, it's someone outsourced in the Philippines or outsourced somewhere else, where it's more of a human connection there. That's less automated, and you pay a price for that as well. Sure. But then you could also completely make your own bot from scratch. But before that, I would much prefer to spend $10 to see if it works.
Absolutely. So let's dive into it, man. Let's dive into it. I know you got a lot to cover. Let's jump in.
Yeah, so I'm just going to go over some opportunities for the bot that we can kind of go through. And then if you have any questions, Rich, on like any industry specific questions on the opportunities where we could sell this. But like we mentioned over and over again, it's just a very, very cheap secretary for $10 a month to start. It's based on your subscription numbers. So if you have less than 1,000, they change the subscription limit all the time, but if it is less than 1,000, it's only $10 a month. And a lot of local businesses aren't going to be getting 1,000 users every single month.
Not just that, but guys, if you're doing anything on a pay-per lead, or even if you're just doing lead generation, whether you're not charging, like if you have a maintenance contract that you normally set up with your clients, even if it's not pay per lead, if it's a flat fee for the month, and it might include organic SEO, local SEO, and paid ads that are going through this lead, the client does not care where the lead came from. They don't care if it's cold email. They don't care if it's cold calling. They don't care if it's your brother-in-law that you called and referred to them. They're just trying to close business, right? So what he's talking about when he's saying it's $10 a month for your first, like up to 50 subscribers or whatever it is, that is so scalable, because even if you have the client eat the cost of that, or if you do, the cost of the software is minuscule compared to the value that you're going to be adding, right? Because the brains of it, the actual chatbot sequence, is what you're going to be providing. That's the value he's about to provide. The software, there's a lot of software solutions out there that will do this. That's not the be all end all. You're providing the value, and that's what he's about to provide you with. So jump back in, Mike.
Yeah.
Do your thing.
No worries. Another thing you can do is, if you do deal with specific niches, say you only do gyms, you only do roofers, you only do XYZ, doesn't matter. The bots are clonable. So if you spend 30 hours on one amazing bot that you love.
Oh,
You're like, this is absolutely amazing. You can clone it to another Facebook page
can I
instantly.
integrate it with stuff? Just to give you an example, I run a lot of ads to roofers, and we basically, our sequence is trying to get somebody to sign up for an event through Calendly. Am I able to link any of the chatbot sequences to like Calendly or Acuity or any of the other scheduling?
Yeah, so there is Zapier integration. So pretty much, since you have Zapier integration, there's no limits to what you can do. I had made a couple bots which send off to Calendly, and then when it updates, it'll give another notification a day before. So there's also SMS integration you could do with other platforms, but this
Bingo.
specifically, if you want to keep it on Messenger, you definitely can.
I'm sold. I'm sold. I won't stop interrupting you so much. I'm just going to sit here and drink my beer. You drive, man. I'm going to pop in with questions and we'll try to shut up.
Perfect. So some opportunities right off the bat is this is a messenger bot. It's way more confusing than it actually is. That means the price is much less than what you can actually charge for it. I've seen bots being charged that personally took me less than an hour for over $10,000.
I do a monthly. Just throwing this out there. I
Exactly.
do a monthly.
It was $10,000 a month.
Okay.
And it was $2,500 a month. It was very, very high priced monthlies just for something that sounds more confusing than anyone else can do.
I thought you meant 10,000 for the development fee.
No.
So the
no.
way that I've done it, and don't listen to me because obviously he's got a better thing going on. Normally the way that I'll do it is $1,000 or a $2,500 setup fee, and then I will run between $500 and $1,500 a month for the bot to continuously run.
Yeah.
The return on investment is easy to justify, but if you got anybody doing 10,000, dude, you run with it.
Yeah, I took over a few that were doing bots for that much. Obviously, I scaled it back way. I didn't see the value in running it for that much, so I took what they had, optimized it, then reduced the price. You could pretty much sell these things for whatever you want. It's more of what the client's willing to pay for it, and if it's actually building them value. Because the way you sell it as well is, if you're willing to pay someone $14 an hour to sit in a room and just wait for calls all day, what are you willing to pay someone to actually do it 24/7? So $2,000 a month is justifiable in that sense.
I don't know if you guys just picked up on what he just dropped right there, but if in the free trainings, I talk about the financing options and how the website that you build or the platform that you build them should be the best employee that they have. The thing he just dropped right there, that little nugget, if you don't watch anything else tonight, that just nailed it, because this should be your most efficient employee. Never get sick, never come in late. They're never hungover. They're never having a bad day. They're never in a fight with their spouse. They're never on strike, and they're never going to sue you. This is the most efficient employee, answers questions exactly the right way every time.
Exactly. So you can make them for lead gen to be like more of a sales side, or you can make them more of a customer service to take notes for you, to book appointments for you, to do whatever you really want, to get more information from the client before they actually come in. Whatever you want, and you still pay the same amount as long as the subscriber count is there. So you can scale it as much as you want. Another great thing that you can do for lead gen is you can kind of open up the bot where you can use keywords. So keywords you can do, if someone types in something, it'll automatically trigger a sequence. So if you know they type in, I need help with this, when they trigger that, you send them down this sequence, another help guide.
So if they type in the word price, what's your price for pricing? Then it takes them down a certain sequence.
Exactly. We send them straight to the pricing. We give them, are you looking for pricing for specific things? Are you looking for pricing for, if it's a service, here are our 3 price lines, our intro, our middle, and our ultra package. Here's our 3 ones. Click on the one you want. They click on the one you want. You know they're interested in that one. We set a tag right away. So we know every single person that's coming in, what they're clicking on. And then if we ever do need to actually do a sales call with them, oh, you clicked on this one. We know you went through the bot this way. We know exactly.
Is it fair to say that is artificial intelligence?
I always have a debate about artificial intelligence.
Everyone. I don't mean to go down a rabbit hole, but
yeah.
Is it fair to make the debate that that's artificial intelligence?
I would say no, because we
Okay.
are manually inputting keywords to trigger where they're going. So
Okay.
it's not actually the software that's smart. You still have to be smart enough to know where the pathing's going.
Excellent. So if I can stop right there just for a second, you guys that are in the certified partner program, you're going to hear us talk about in the organic SEO world, when we talk about a synonyms table where you're setting up synonyms for keywords. Like the easiest example, I used to work way back in the day in the corporate world. I worked in an electronics distributor, and the word laptop and notebook were synonyms. If somebody searches for, HP notebook, they're not looking for a 3-ring binder. If somebody searches for keyboard and mouse, they're looking for this thing. They're not looking for a pet mouse, right? So the synonyms table is what he's talking about. You get to define that, and you kind of put the parameters around the conversation and where it goes.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, you still have to kind of work with the bot. That's where the management fee each month comes in. I always tell clients, I'm going to set up the best I can at the beginning, but every single person knows people are random and they can type in whatever they want. So they might type in something that you've never even thought of. It's just the weirdest word, but
When you
it
think the
makes
world is,
sense.
when you think you've made something idiot proof, the world shows you a better idiot.
Exactly. They just keep upping the game until they find the best one, and so you can keep adapting your bot based on the traffic coming in. So it's always adaptable, and you just add new keyword filters and set them down sequences.
Perfect. Perfect.
So
Well,
who
tee it
needs
up. What
this?
do we got?
Who needs this though? That's like the
Who
main
need,
thing.
who
Who
needs
need
a chat?
who
Mike,
needs a chatbot?
who in the hell needs a chatbot?
Who needs one of these
I
things?
don't have no clue. Who could use it?
I think personally anyone can use it, but there are certain industries that could use it better. So in lead gen, when you're doing lead gen and you're doing lead gen, say Facebook ad, Google ad, whatever ad you're doing to
End of interview. We got to go. Everybody needs one. We got to.
everyone, that's it.
No. He's totally right here. Definitely some industries need it more than others.
For
Just want
sure.
to jump on top of him and try to crush his thought path there.
So if you're not doing Facebook ads, maybe not as good for you.
Okay.
But if you do have an audience on Facebook, might be good. If you're not doing Facebook ads, or you don't have an audience on Facebook, or you don't even have a page, probably not the best thing to start out with. But
You also don't have a presence, so no one
exactly. So
cares.
you might want to start with the presence or the basics before you start going down chatbots. But what I was saying before is, if you are doing Facebook ads or Google ads or any kind of ads, and you are sending them to a lead form, they have to fill out the lead form. So it's always, you get all 5 questions, all 6 questions based on your CRO. You know how many questions you want to ask them. So if you're asking them 6 questions, they're going to see all 6 questions right off the bat, and they're like, I don't want to answer this. This is too much work. They're going to bounce. Sometimes. Depends on the client, but with a chatbot, you're giving them one question at a time. So you're just feeding them
Essentially the same
questions.
thing as them filling out a form, but instead of you showing them the huge ass form, they're just doing it one little step at a time. It's more conversational than an
Yeah,
entire form.
I like to see it as an interview kind of. So it's just like
Okay.
question, answer, question, answer, question,
Cool.
answer. And
Okay.
the bot will adapt based on what you say.
Gotcha.
So that's what you kind of want to do. So if they answer a specific way, you know that they don't want XYZ, but you know that they might want something else. So you send them over to something else, and then that can kind of flow down that path instead. You never want to be like just hammering them with the wrong stuff. It doesn't really make sense. If they're like, no, I don't want this, well, you sure you don't want this? Like, you don't want to just keep dragging out the conversation if
Are
it's
you
not going
sure? Are
anywhere.
you sure you're sure?
Exactly. So it's like they clicked on the ad, they're interested in something. So we
Right.
find right off the bat what they're interested in. If it's an open ad, if it's a very one product, one service ad that you're doing, you know exactly what service they want. But maybe, do you have any questions about pricing? Do you have any questions about this? Do you have any questions about this? No. Okay, we know they're good to go. When can you book? When do you want your appointment to be? We'll set an appointment, and then we'll do the follow-up.
For the purpose of tonight, we literally did not talk about this tonight. So I am doing what you should never do whenever you're interviewing somebody. I'm asking an open-ended question that I literally don't know the answer to. Do you have any specific niche in mind tonight that you might be using if you're going to build any bots out that we might use as an example? So like, for example, like building out an e-commerce chatbot is going to be pretty different than building out one for a roofer or an accountant or an HVAC guy, or, you know, like there's going to be specific paths that you take somebody down that you're trying to get them to convert to. If I'm selling dog leashes and the product is $7, that's a hell of a lot easier than me getting to somebody that will voluntarily let me look into their, you know, tax returns from the last 3 years for an accountant. So do you, I honestly don't know the answer. Do you have a specific niche in mind that you're going to try to use as an
Yeah,
example tonight?
yeah.
Or?
So for tonight, I'm building a real estate chatbot,
Okay.
and then I'm
Real
also
estate being an agent
being an agent. Yeah, so it's
and residential or commercial?
residential mostly.
Perfect. Nailed
So
it.
when dealing with Facebook chatbots, I always find it's best to target the personal.
Okay.
So B to C rather than B to B. It makes a lot more sense because they
Interesting.
are on Facebook. They want to keep it kind of more. You are messaging them directly as well, so it has to be a little more light. So if you are just hammering them down with commercial questions, it might be a little hesitant off the bat, but it definitely works for anything booking appointments, anything with B2C. So if you are doing e-commerce to B2C, it works very well. And then
Interesting.
pretty much anything B2C, I find it really works very, very well. Any service industry, you can do follow-ups with them. You can do
Whether it's restaurants, whether it's e-commerce, you're saying
exactly
B2C chatbot kills it.
like anything. The main thing of the chatbot is you want their information. That's at
Yep.
the end of the day, it just helps you gather that information in creative ways. Instead of sending them to a lead form, instead of sending them to whatever you want, you know exactly. And for me as well, for say a restaurant, I wouldn't use a chatbot to generate leads. It doesn't really make sense unless they want to do a booking where they do it through Facebook, but I don't think it's going to be that much traffic on it. I can
Okay.
still do it, but my main driver would be I want to collect emails. So I want to make an email list for my Facebook ads. But
Okay.
what I can do is they do have an integration that you can make a QR code to the Facebook chatbot. So I put a little thing on the tables with the QR code. They
Maybe
scan it
drive
while
up
they're waiting,
positive reviews, maybe.
drive up positive reviews, or you could even do it for the Wi-Fi. You want the Wi-Fi password, scan the QR code. They go down the Facebook chatbot, put in your email address right off the bat. You have their email address, you have their cell phone number, you have their name, you have their birthday, you have all the information you want to get from them right off the bat. And then whenever you want to
Anytime
make
I
a
scan one and it asks me for AVL, I'm like, not
yeah,
today, Mike, not today.
yeah, becoming a marketer really makes you paranoid about the rest of the world gathering your information. But so you could use it in many, many ways. It's just really like a more personal conversation that you want to have with the client. So
Okay.
kind of booking a form online, it's just you click, 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 and then you send the form, and then you might have questions here and there, but you're not really sure. You're going to ask them at the date itself. I was dealing with another client in the medical industry where they dealt with prosthetics.
Okay.
And we're making a bot for them. And pretty much what was happening was they were getting people that did not have prescriptions for the prosthetics signing up for their leads. And they'd sign up right off the bat through the Facebook form. They would go off to a landing page, sign up there, and then they would come to the appointment and be like, I want a prosthetic. And they're like, well, do you have a prescription for it? They're like, no, we don't. We thought you would give me the prescription. So there was a disconnect right there. But
Gotcha.
through the bot, we were able to talk to the client, be like, do you already have a prescription for this? What prosthetic are you looking for? What are you looking for here? Do you already have
Helps
a
them go through
prescription?
some frequently asked questions.
Exactly. Frequently asked questions, but
Gotcha.
questions we know we need to add. And if it is a very long list of questions, you can't put 10 questions on a form. No one's going to fill that out.
Right, right.
No one's going to fill that
You're
out.
going to lose 90% of them right there.
So on a Facebook bot, you can ask 10 questions. That's actually a lot of the ones I do ask 10 questions. That's where I kind of lead into, I always have a goal, a sub goal, and then a cherry on top goal.
You're probably going to get into this. So if you are, tell me to shut up and just go down your rabbit hole. What's a goal, sub goal, and cherry on top?
Okay. Yeah, exactly. So a goal is what you absolutely need to know. You need to know their email. You need to know their name. Maybe you need to know their phone number if you need to contact them by phone number. And then whatever information you need besides that to contact the client and to know if they're actually an MQL, so a marketing qualified lead. That's the main thing right there. The sub goal is if you're doing real estate, you don't really need to know how many bathrooms they want, how many bedrooms they want, what's their price range, everything like this right off the bat. Because if you do a welcome call with them, you're going to know that. But it's still a good sub goal to have. So when you do call them,
nice to know.
It's nice to know. And then the cherry on top is like, are you willing to put down a down payment? How much are you willing to put down?
Because now you know what kind of loan you're trying to qualify them for.
Exactly. So it's just kind of like what I need to know, what would be helpful to know, and then kind of like a Hail Mary at the end. I want to know this.
If you're not taking notes right now, I don't feel sorry for you. I don't care. I don't feel sorry for you.
And what we
Just
could
watch
do,
it numerous times. But if you don't have a notepad out, shame on you.
what we can do as well through ManyChat is integrate it through CRM. So if you are using Nurture Ninja, we could use that as well. And in segments where it goes, our goal is completed, send the information to Nurture Ninja. Our sub goal is completed, send the information to Nurture Ninja. And then our final cherry on top goal is completed, send it to Nurture Ninja. So we have 3 stages of updates on the lead. So if they only fill out the 3 first questions, we still have their information. Whereas if we had a 10 question long list on our website form, they have to fill out every single question for us to get the information all.
Pause. You guys, I'm going to venture out to say 85% of you have no idea what he just said. So I want to relive it for a second, okay? He's talking about picking up 10 questions, right? And he's doing it in a conversational tone. So I want you to think about, instead of a chatbot and all this automation shit, if you're on the phone and you called somebody and you asked, if you got 10 questions you got to know the answers to. You ask them 3 of them, they answered 3. You ask them number 4 and they hang up the phone. You just wrote down numbers 1 through 3 and put them in your Rolodex, right? That's what he's saying. The chatbot does that. Drops them right into Nurture Ninja. You got them right inside of your CRM. If you're doing that by web form and they answer 3 of them and they're like, man, I still got 7 questions left, and they bail on it, I'll come back to it later, and they never do, you got nothing from it. Because until they hit submit, it's not writing the records to the CRM. So to Mike's point here, what you're saying is every part of the chatbot, whether they get 100% of the way through it or just 10% of the way through it, every single step is valuable because it's writing it as it goes. Am I wrong about that, Mike? Am I on the wrong track there?
Exactly. So I normally send it. We collect it no matter what through ManyChat, so it's going to collect all the data. So if you ever do need to go in and they only filled out 2 questions, I wouldn't count that as an MQL. So I wouldn't send that to our CRM.
Correct.
Because it's just they're not willing to give me these 3 basic information.
But you get to define whatever that goal is.
Exactly.
For your client.
Exactly. So exactly like you said. So we can define everything, and then we can essentially, it's like a conversation. So we are writing every single question down as it goes. It's just, do you want to call upon it, and do you want that to be qualification on your CRM?
Right. And not to dig down too far in that rabbit hole, but let's say that we got somebody to answer a question that we know is either an immediate qualifier or disqualifier. If I'm trying to sell you a children's product and I ask if you have kids and you said no, it might be an immediate disqualifier. If I ask you about a credit score and I know you don't qualify, it might be an immediate disqualifier. I don't have to even throw that in there as a lead. To your point, you're saying that we can just, not only can we catch the information that we're asking, but we can also make decisions on it.
Yeah, and we can also do lead gen often has lead gen then closers, or lead gen then the higher sales rep. So if they do end the question, you can also push after the cherry on top, or even the cherry on top is, can I call you right now? And then automatically forwards to the sales agent.
And it goes to the closer instead of the...
Exactly. The chatbot, which is the lead gen. So you can also run it side by side.
And if they're using Nurture Ninja and they give you that cherry on top, is it okay to call you right now? They're literally filling out the information on the chatbot. So the chances that they're available are pretty good. Can you set up a trigger inside Nurture Ninja to, as soon as either you or your client, whoever it is, as soon as you say, is it okay to call you right now? And they say yes, enter your best phone number. Nurture Ninja can automatically dial whoever it is you've assigned the contact to. As soon as they pick it up, dialing out to them. So I think manual call.
Yeah, exactly. So it'd just be a tag trigger after they click yes. If they click no, we could even go, when's the best time I can call you? And we could schedule call through Calendly like you mentioned before. But if they do click yes, we could send it to Nurture Ninja and then do the trigger to make a manual call, and then even send a text notification to the owner, an email notification to the owner, or whoever's calling, the main person doing outbound calls.
I literally didn't even know he was going down that rabbit hole, y'all. I truly didn't. We're splitting hairs about ways that we can actually get people closing. Let's dive into the pieces of the chatbot that in and of itself are helpful. How can we get started? What can we do? Like, walk me through not just why it's important or how we accomplish it, but like, how do we actually start the implementation? How do we do any of that?
Yeah, so for ManyChat itself, you just need a Facebook page and a Facebook account.
I think
So
everybody's got that.
hopefully everyone
And
has
for
that
your
by now.
Facebook account, it could be your client account, right?
Exactly. So as long as you have admin access to that account, you
Right.
can add any page that you have.
Okay.
So if I have, say I'm doing white labeling for you, I'm doing white labeling for 6 other clients, as long as I have admin access, I could add the page to my ManyChat, which adds it to their page. So it's independent now. So it's on their page. So if I ever, go
And
ahead.
by the way, if you're going to white label him, you add him as an admin to the page. You simply say that I am from XYZ agency. This is Mike. He handles everything when it comes to paper lead, paid advertisements. Like they'll see his name pop up. It's not a big deal. It's easy to explain to a client, easy to get started with. And you can go do every bit of this. Or if you find that it's not cost effective for you, if the return on investment on your time isn't there, then hire a professional, and Mike kills it. It just looks like he's one of your guys.
Yeah, so it doesn't like say my agency's name next to it. It doesn't say anything next to it. It just says my name. So it'll just be Michael Scott, and then it'll be an associate of your company as long as you add me as a as a
Correct.
as an agent of your Facebook company name. And then pretty much like I said, it is independent. So it's not going to say, if it's not going to be under my ManyChat, it's going to be under the page's ManyChat. So if you guys kick me off, if you kick any of your agents off, they're not going to have access to the ManyChat after it. So it's linked directly to the page. It's not
So you're
linked.
not holding it hostage. The
Exactly.
person that owns it actually is, like, whether it's one of the certified partners that is selling it to one of their clients, or whether the client owns it, however they want to work that out.
Yeah.
They're the ones that own it, not you, not me, nothing like that, right?
So the page itself owns it. So
Okay.
if I don't have access to the page, I don't have access to it anymore on ManyChat.
Gotcha.
So as long as I link it correctly, which is like you can't even start without linking it correctly, it's gonna be linked straight to the page. So you're gonna be absolutely fine. You can even tell the client that like this is yours. It comes with you if anything ever happens. If you disconnect me, you're still gonna have access to this. But what will happen is, say you kick all your admins off of the page, the bot will still run as long as there's payment going through. So the issue there is if they want to stop it and they kicked you off, you can't actually turn it off unless you have access to it.
That's a great problem to have.
Exactly. So that you could
It's a
even
great
do
problem
like
to have. We'll let them all work that out.
exactly. You could even do a small payment to go and fix it, since they obviously canceled with that project with you, or you could do anything else. It's up to you. We'll leave that in your hands.
You can send me a private message if you would like my comments on how I would handle that.
Cool. So I think we can jump into actually building a bot. We might build 2 or 3 tonight. We'll see how it goes.
Man. Kill it.
So
can I got to make you the host, right?
Yeah, you got to make me the host.
All right. So let me make you the host. That should give you the permission to share your screen. All right. Can you just make sure that we're recording?
Yep.
I just asked for recording permission or whatever.
Sec. I think it says you're recording. I see a little recording to the cloud. It's automatically recording.
Perfect.
And even so, we could always build the bots after. It's not we could do a hard pause, but it does say recording.
All right, cool.
Cool. So you can see my screen.
I've got you. Yeah.
Perfect. So the first bot we're going to make tonight is going to be a real estate chat bot. This is going to be after the lead form. So the lead form is going to gather 3 things for us, which is going to be name, phone number, and email address. Those are the only things we need. That's through the lead form itself. And then we know our client can call them after. But
so we've set up an ad. The 3 steps of the lead forms ad is that it's name, phone number, email address. And if they have that already in Facebook, they don't even have to retype it, right? It just pre-populates whatever there is.
It normally pre-populates. If it normally does it if they fill out another form before. If they've never filled out a form before, it might be completely empty.
Cool.
But what we do is we do a a continue button at the bottom. So instead of visit website or learn more, where we send them to a redirect to the website, or we send them to a landing page or whatever, we do it to the bot. So they're sticking on Facebook, so we're not sending them off page. So it's not like an interruption to their night or an interruption to their day. They're just still on Facebook, and then we can ask them more questions. So what we can do is, I'm going to do it as if we've never talked to them before. So we've never done any lead form or anything like that. And then I'm going to ask name, phone number, email. Those are going to be my first goal, is getting those 3.
Cool.
So my starting step is going to be, let me know if it's too,
you're good.
It's not zoomed in enough. My starting step is going to be a ref URL. So it's going to be a ref URL. So pretty much if I send anything to this ref URL here, it'll start the chatbot flow. This flow will only start if they access this ref URL.
In other words, if I am running my lead ad form for that real estate agent and they have completed it, if you've ever set up a lead ad form, you already know this, but it will ask you where you want the next step to go. You're saying you would use this URL as that next step.
Exactly. So you can use either that because you want more information from the client. It's not costing you anything else, right? It's just another step for them. If they fill it out, great. But we did see around like 20% form completion. Like the amount of people that filled out the form completed the bot completely. So it was still a lot of people that actually filled out the entire 12 questions that we had on the form for real estate and stuff like
and
that.
I'm gonna throw out here that those 20% are probably also the 20% hottest leads.
Yes and no. So we always have kind of trick questions in the form where it's if our clients don't deal with certain numbers. So like if they want under $300,000 house and our client doesn't deal with them, we automatically exclude them. But we get all the information because they might be able to refer it to somebody else that does.
If you're going to be selling this, do you understand that nugget that he just dropped right there on you? You are excluding the conversation. I always tell people, you're paying me to talk to the right people, right? That means you're also paying me to filter out the wrong people. He just said that if you don't talk to people that don't qualify, you don't have to talk to them, but you also collect their information. Maybe you have a colleague, a partner in your firm, whatever. You have a colleague that you can throw that lead to. We're collecting the data. You just don't have to talk to them the same way. You're now not just doing lead generation, you're doing process optimization. There's a whole different rabbit hole that we'll go down there on that, but that's a huge nugget. If you're taking notes tonight, write that one down.
Yeah, so you can even send it. So if you are a real estate agent, you might have referrals and you make a referral bonus if they close. So if you're not using the lead anyways, you might as well just give it to somebody else and then make money on it if it closes. If it doesn't close, you didn't waste any time. So it's like there's always a win for the bad leads.
Huge.
So if they fill out the entire form, that is, because you have a qualified lead, but the lead just doesn't fit what you do, but it might fit what someone else does. Huge. So that's very important. So we're going to do some questions right off the bat. Like I said, I'm going to do it through lead form. So I would already have name, phone number, and email address. But since for the bot itself, I'm going to add those just so we can see how we do it.
If they had already filled out the lead form, could you pre-populate this?
I don't need to. So like I could, but all the stuff besides the email address and the phone number, I already have custom fields I could use. So like their first name, last name, I could already pre-populate as a variable because it's pulling directly from Facebook's data.
You could use that through the tags?
I could use it in the text itself. So I could go, hey, first name. And then the first question we want to ask.
Nice.
Always use their names, always use any questions they answer, be like, okay, just confirming it's this is what we're saying, right? Like you always kind of bring it back so they feel like engaged in the conversation. Because if you ever done sales, you don't want to just be talking the whole time. You kind of want to be addressing that they're talking to you as well. So first question we want to ask is, I was going to say it would be your first name if we wanted it, but since we already have it, we're going to go into something else. So something that real estate's very, very keen on, like I mentioned before, is property value.
Okay.
So first question we want to know is how much, So this is where the trouble comes in. You kind of have to work with the verbiage, make sure it sounds okay. So first question we want to know is what property value are you looking for? Okay. And now this leaves it as an open-ended question because we're not giving them any multiple choice. But what we want to do is, a lot of people I see that have ManyChat use buttons like this. And what they'll do is they'll just keep sending them down flows after flow after flow. I never use these unless I have a specific reason to. If I know I'm sending, say it was product 1, product 2, product 3, and I would just do this, and then I would do action, and then I would start a new flow. Because I know I'm getting rid of that. Anything else is not relevant. It's just this now that's relevant, so I'm sending to a completely different flow. But since we're doing real estate, it's a lead form. So if we're doing lead forms, we use user input. So we get rid of this. And we can get rid of this as well. So we're waiting for the reply from the user. It won't do anything else until we get a reply. What we're going to do as well is we're going to add multiple choice. And we're going to add questions here. So we're going to go, it might be different where you are, but let's say $0 to 300,000 as the first one.
You guys notice how he's not using that as buttons. He's using that as quick replies. To the user interface, it looks similar, but totally different outcome.
So it technically is a button, so they can click on it. But if they want to type something else in, they can. We can either give them the option to, or we can give them the option to not do that. But when we do this, we don't have to do like manual tags on every single question. It'll automatically collect the data we're looking for. So if you do what we did before, which was like the text, it doesn't collect what you actually say unless you put a tag in between. So we have to do a bunch more work, make the flow look 10 times bigger. If you want to make it look complicated, that's what you can do. But personally, I like to keep it nice and compact. So 300 to, let's say 500. And then we could do one more. 500.
We get the point.
500K plus, whatever, it doesn't matter. And what happens is we can save this right here. I don't want them to be able to skip this question. Always delete that. You never want them to miss out on a question. If you know it's kind of like a Hail Mary and you do have a next step, you can always add the skip.
Kind of a cherry on top or something like that?
Yeah, exactly. So if you do have a flow after the cherry on top, I would add it. But in the first initial MQL, you never want them to be able to skip that because that's the most important step at the beginning. You could allow free text input, but I always find at the beginning, you know exactly what you're looking for, and to be able to filter it out by the end, you can kind of tell. So if you have 0 to 300, you don't deal with that. You can't filter out the end if you put a custom input because they're going to be writing out something. So it's not going to be 300K. It's not going to be 500K. It's going to be something weird like 500, 000 with a $sign at the end, $sign at the beginning. You're not going to be able to filter it out. So I always put the questions there for them. And then you can also add, if the question is incorrect, what can we add? So I can say just like, please select one of the options. And then no skip button. And then when the answer is activated, we go to the next step. And we just kind of build out the flow every single step of the way.
Okay.
Why I use user input as well is because buttons disappear. So if you have text with buttons, these will go away eventually on the messenger chat. So if you are using on any messenger, so if you're using the phone or your computer to use messenger, these will disappear after an hour. It can depend on certain ones. I've seen them last a bit longer, but the user input never goes away because it's just waiting for a reply.
Really?
That's what I've seen, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I always, just in case, I always use user input instead of buttons.
Learned something.
And then you could always just, their buttons essentially on their own right. It just won't be layered like this. If you know that they're answering questions quickly, you could always answer, you could always add buttons like this, but I always tend to stick to user input because it's always the best bet. And then you can also track what the field is called. So I can just call.
Yeah, so what he just is doing right there, when he says he's going to solve it, he's going to save it to a custom field, if you're going to pass that in a Nurture Ninja, or whether you're using Salesforce or any other CRM, doesn't matter. If you're going to save that somewhere and then draw it back out, whether you're writing it to a Google Sheet, a Nurture Ninja, whatever, that value that he's talking about right there, where it says save response to a custom field, that's how you'll pull it out of there. So that's turbo important. You want to be able to make sure that you name that something that will make sense to you when you come to pull it back out.
Yeah. So definitely you need to be able to track all the data you're actually gathering. So you could use this in other responses in text down the line. It'll save it. You can use it any way you want. But the main thing is you want to send it to your CRM so you can actually, when you call the client or when the client is eventually going to be called, you want to know what they want, what their actual values are, so you can sell them. That's the main thing at the end of the day. So we're going to do a step before this. Like I mentioned before, our clients normally have a disclaimer or so not a disclaimer, a filter based on price.
Some kind of qualifier or something.
Exactly. So if they don't want, some people don't want like $1 million homes. They just don't deal with those because they're too hard to sell. They're going to be on the market for too long. They just don't want to deal with them. So we could do high, low. We could do specific things, filter them out right away. So I'm just going to add a filter saying if custom field, if I have too many fields now.
I think it was value. Yeah.
Property value. Yeah. Property value. If property value equals.
And by the way, that's, if you remember when I was just harping on, he's saving that as a custom value, right? Like that's what he's looking up right now.
So you could do this with other questions on the line. If you do open-ended, we couldn't do this. So if they had wrote, say like $250,000, we would have to add every single step of the way. We could do less than, but if they type in like the dollar sign, it's going to automatically turn that number.
Right.
They'll never get it right. So you might as well give them the first three and then see if it works. If it doesn't work, you can add other things down the line. But pretty much property value is this. We're going to send it to here.
Guys, the reason that doesn't work is because that condition has to be identical. So what he did was he copy and pasted the 0 to 300K mark. If somebody had written in 250, 000, it wouldn't pick it up because it doesn't understand that. So he's tying his condition fields to one of the options that they're clicking. That way they're not actually typing it.
Exactly. So then what we do is we add a reference lead to it. So if we don't want it, we can call it whatever we want. But I want it to be called the reference lead because I'm going to be using it as a reference to somebody else. So I'm just going to be giving it away or selling the lead. That's another thing you can do is a lot of people sell leads. So only if it's fully qualified. So if you do have a fully qualified lead, that lead is technically worth $50 to $100 depending on who you're selling it to. And then we just keep going on with the questions, adding user inputs. I could go through like 100 questions, but I'm probably just gonna do a couple more. So what the property value is how many bedrooms do you want? And like I said, we're gonna do multiple choice always because we want delete the skip. Bedrooms, number of bedrooms. And then we can just go right here and add quick replies. 1, 2, 3. I'll just do 3 for now. I think you can go up to, I think you can go as many as you want. Actually.
Or whatever.
Yeah. So you can do as many as you want for the most part. I think it's up to 10 actually.
They have to scroll, especially if you're on mobile. They scroll horizontally.
Yeah.
So you might do like 1, 2. Like you might do like 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 plus, 5 plus, whatever.
Exactly. So
scrolling.
Unless you really, really need to know the exact number, what you could do is you could add another filter. So if they do click 4 plus, you go, how many exactly do you want? And then you can send them down another line. But the more questions you ask, the more likely they're going to bounce. So you just kind of want to keep.
It's also been very rare, especially in real estate, that I've ever witnessed somebody that was like, I need exactly 7 bedrooms.
Yeah. Like it's very, very rare.
6, not 8. I need 7 bedrooms.
And yeah, exactly. So like if someone wants 7, they'll probably want 8 as well. It's just one extra room, right? It's probably not the other way around. They don't want 6, but anyway, so we'll keep going down the flow. So how many do you want? We'll save that. And then what we could do is I'm going to set an action. that I'm going to add a tag. I'm going to say goal 1 complete. So what that means is I know I got my MQL right here with these questions. You can ask as many questions as you want. Like I mentioned before, name, phone number, email address, that would be my normal MQL. And then after that would be the price range, how many bedrooms you want, how many bathrooms do you want, do you want a pool, are you willing to put a mortgage, a down payment, what kind of mortgage down payment do you want? And then at the end, even the cherry on top would be, are you also selling a house? And then you can send them down the seller flow at the end. So completely new flow. You're also selling a house? Okay. First question on the selling house would be, do you already have a realtor? And then it just go
Just in
down.
case somebody is totally new to ManyChat, the terminology doesn't make sense to you at all. What he is building right now, what you're looking at on screen, is called a flow. You can build out an infinite number of these. So based on the responses to your questions, he can set up trigger events to pass you into another flow. In other words, he could have another flow that just says multi-gazillionaire. And if somebody wanted 18 or more bedrooms, it automatically dropped them into an entirely different flow.
Yeah, exactly. So you could clone this flow. Say you already have a real estate flow, and then this is for your regular real estate. So, you know, max they're going to have is like 5 houses, 5 bedrooms. And then if you do actually deal with multi-gazillionaires that sell 30-bedroom houses, you can make a completely, you can copy this flow, you know it already works, and you just change the variables behind it. So it's like different choices at the end of the day. So it would be, instead of 0 to 300K, you would say like $1 to $2 million. The second would be like $3 to $10 million, and then $25 million plus instead.
You guys
could,
have $25 million clients, just
yeah, just send this flow.
I would be happy to help you with that.
So we can kind of keep track of exactly where they are. So when I put right here, goal 1 complete, I'm going to send all this information to my CRM. So that would be Nurture Ninja. So gotcha. I have my MQL. It's done.
Gotcha.
That's all I really need.
Your marketing qualified lead is 100% established right now. You've passed all the custom fields. You know the data that you needed to know. You have set up whatever sequence, trigger events, everything that you've set up in Nurture Ninja. It's passed right over there.
So then you need question. We'll just put question and we'll just ask more questions. This is kind of like the sub,
right?
The nice to haves, exactly. So you don't actually need these. Like, you don't need to know if they actually, like, no one 100% needs to have a pool in their backyard. They're not hosting like a water park year round, so right. They don't need to have a pool in the backyard, but it's good to know, because then you could show them the ones with the pools first, and they're more likely to buy right away.
Do you have dogs, therefore do you need a fence? Do you have any family members with disabilities? Do you have any of these other nice to have questions? But if they check out, if they get into these questions and they're like, listen, this is more time consuming than I wanted to do, they close the screen, we've still already got their information, right?
And yeah, exactly. So you could literally ask 20 questions if you want. If they're willing to answer the questions, you might as well give them to them. Absolutely. And then that'll save your sales guy X amount of time every single day, because the questions are already filled out. He doesn't have to kind of small talk them, or it can even help his sales pitch, because he's on the phone small talking them, be like, oh, I see you have dogs. Like, how many dogs do you have? What kind of dog do you have? Like, I really like dogs. And they can kind of go in that avenue as well. So it kind of helps the sales guy pitch, but it'll also help them know exactly what they're looking for.
We all also just identified a weak spot for Mike. If you're going to be hiring from white labeling, talk to him about dogs.
Talk to me about dogs. I'll give you the best price. And then, so yeah, that's pretty much my real estate flow. I would just keep building questions, and then at the end, I just give a thank you message, and then you can either send to the landing page, the website, whatever you want. It doesn't matter at the end. You can even push to book a call. So the best way to book a call, I'm just going to show you quick. I would actually finally use buttons. This is the only time I would use buttons, because they have call integration. So if they click on it, it'll automatically call out, instead of...
You're putting in the phone number right there for either my business or for my client's business, whatever.
Exactly. So 1-800-267-2001 Alarm Force. I always use that because I remember as a kid watching cartoons. That's my go-to default number when I'm testing stuff out. And then if you want to do landing page,
visit website,
website,
whatever.
There's some other ones as well. Start another flow. So like I said, if it's I am a seller. I can start the flow automatically. A randomizer if you want an A/B test.
Okay.
Send them. I don't really stick to these. I normally use other platforms. I tend to just use ManyChat for the ManyChat, the Facebook flow,
You want
because
to
it's
send them
just
an SMS or an email, you can do that through Nurture Ninja. You can
exactly.
do it through ManyChat if you want. Nurture Ninja handles it really well, so I always do it through that. But
Yeah, exactly. I find the stats through Nurture Ninja are way better as well. You can kind of keep track of where everything's going, and then you have like if they actually send you a text back, you're gonna be able to tell
right.
in Nurture Ninja rather to here, where it's just
You
gonna be
also
like,
don't care in Nurture Ninja if they send it back, whether it's a text or a Facebook message or an email. You don't care because it's all on one platform. So I can just all I'm doing is going to that conversation. I'm replying to it on the channel that they are communicating through. We're just initiating the conversation through whatever channel they've chosen.
so kind of just to add to it as well, you could send them to a calendar link right here. So if you are like,
Go
do you want to book an appointment? So this question could be,
teeth cleaning, or in this case for a real estate agent, it would be a walkthrough or a, whatever.
and then it would just be like a yes or no.
Yeah.
So yes, we send them there. No, we can send them to,
Okay, give us a call or whatever.
yeah, exactly. Call us whenever you feel like.
Yeah.
Here's our number. Or we could even send this one to here and then this one to another
Calendly.
specific one. Exactly. So you can kind of work out the flows. What I really, really like about ManyChat compared to other platforms is you have this. You can see everything you're doing. You can kind of work out the flows. If you're making giant flows, which is possible, you can do it. If you're asking like many, many things, you can see them, you can visualize them, you can kind of see if the paths are broken, and then you can kind of work around it. So other flows I've seen and I worked on, they don't have anything like this. You have to build the flow and then build the conditions around it, and you're not actually able to see what's going to what. So if there is a break somewhere, so say I didn't have this was deleted. If they didn't fill out these two,
You would
the flow would end. So it would just be like, it would be done. And I wouldn't know until I would just look into it. So that's why I normally recommend ManyChat for the first flow, because it just helps you visualize everything. And then what you can also do is if you are using another platform, there is a free version of ManyChat, and you could build out all your flows in here and then just take a screenshot and then just have your visualization on the side and then build it on another platform.
right. So if you want to build it out in like ConversioBot or something like that, you can basically conceptualize it here and build it out in one of the other platforms.
Yeah, exactly. So it just helps you kind of visualize it and then see if there's any breaks, because like if there was just missing one connection here, it would break the entire thing.
Sure.
And that's just one thing of, if you're asking like 20 questions, there could be
Yeah.
many flows.
This is an extremely simple flow since we've only got like 4 questions in it. But
Yeah.
if this thing was going off multiple conditions, they fork and go in a lot of different directions. So
Yeah, exactly. So you kind of want to keep track of everything. And then another thing I would do if you are doing Facebook ads or Google ads or any kind of ads really, and you want to build audience sizes, is you could assign scores based on where they land in the funnel. So if you are asking, I'm just going to duplicate these so it makes it look better. Let's say that this is our beginning questions right here, and then this is our middle questions, and this is our cherry on top questions right here. You can kind of tell what kind of clients are going to be really, really responsive clients, because they're the ones that are going to fill out the bot right away. So you could add a specific audience based on where they come in, and then you add it to a list. And then you already have their email, you already have their phone number, and you already have their name. So you can add that to a specific CRM list and then target. You could target them if you want to do remarketing to them, or you could even make lookalike audiences based on where they land.
if you guys are wondering about the lookalike audience things that he's talking about, we've got a free tutorial on Pixels. It's just Ninja. It's the Ninja Marketing Solution/Pixels. It's walking you through conceptually what he's talking about when he says lookalike audiences.
Yeah, so you could do it based on just the first one. You could do it based on the second one, or you could do it based on the third one. The third ones are going to be your best clients. Just your audience size might not be there, but you can know that your second ones are going to be really good. And the first one still filled out the bot, so you know that they're going to be good clients as well. It's just you can kind of score your clients of, these are our best ones, these are middle tier, and these might be our low ones.
If
And
they
you can
stuck
kind of,
the whole bot, they're more valuable because they're
exactly.
to provide more information.
And then when you make a lookalike audience on Facebook, let's say, they already have a Facebook account, so it's going to be able to get that data very easily. And if you're getting the cherry on top ones and you're getting a 99%, I want a lookalike of the ones that filled out the entire bot, you're going to get really, really good leads from those because they're going to be the creme de la creme of Facebook leads.
Just to conceptualize that for a second, not to get off track here, but being as we will be introducing you soon as quite the pay-per-click expert, are you telling me that if somebody got all the way to that third section down there, the cherry on top section, I could show them a different ad than just the people who filled out just that first section?
Yeah, exactly. So as long as
if I answer just the first, I would see ad number 2 that like may ask me the same questions over and over again. Or I may see, if I got all the way through the third section, I might see an ad that says you forgot to book your call or whatever.
Exactly. So if they do hit the second section, we're going to have, we could do, you forgot to book the call, click here to book a call. We could do it based on the CRM data as well. So if they are marked as not picked up, we can hit them hard with remarketing ads. So we add them to another list. We know they're midway of the funnel. So we can even send them into, if we go right here.
You guys aren't, if you're not taking notes right now, you're missing it. What he's saying is a gold mine. You're talking about automating the process of pulling them into your sales funnel. And if they check out at a certain point, you're able to throw ads back at them on all the different ad platforms that you're throwing remarketing ads through. You're able to remarket to them and pick up the conversation essentially where they checked out in the conversation. If they got to checkpoint 1, you start showing them the next ads. If they already finished that entire second section, you start throwing them the ads to finish the third section. It's massive return on investment. Massive. The alternative to just targeting cold, audiences with your ads, this is much more cost effective for you and your clients.
So you could do 2 things with the remarketing ads through this. So if they already finished, say 7 out of 10 questions, you could do a remarketing ad and then send them to a new flow where you ask them kind of maybe less aggressive questions, maybe just easier to answer. So just like very quickly you can get through, or you can even do an ad saying, open your messenger. We still have a conversation open. Please fill it out. And they'll go back exactly. And since we're using these,
right where they left off,
since we're using these buttons, they're not going to disappear. So they're always going to be there so they can go back in and start clicking stuff.
I don't know if you guys just wrote that down. He's saying you can invite them back to the same conversation. That's massive. It is massive. The idea is to get them all the way through this thing, right? And so if they find a time restraint, if they're on a mobile device and they check out of the conversation, you can retarget them and have them pick up where they left off. I hope you guys are seeing the way we're going to chain together these strategies, right? Like I don't throw out there organic SEO or local SEO and tell you it's completely disconnected from everything else. It's always interconnected. What he's saying is your ManyChat, your marketing automation systems, ManyChat, Nurture Ninja, whatever you're using to automate your marketing systems, it just weaves right into the entire marketing strategy to bring them right back into this flow. It's huge return on investment, massive.
Yeah, you could do many, many things with it as well. So like I mentioned before, if you're asking 10 questions on a landing page, it's never going to work. But if they already answered 6 and you send them to a landing page with 3, it could work. So you could do different things with it. It depends on how you want to execute it. But it's always should tie back together to automating the full cycle and getting to finish all the questions that you want them to answer. Like if you really don't need them to answer the cherry on top, that's no problem. You don't need to make an entire marketing campaign around that. But if you do want them to actually answer the sub-tier goals, you should definitely be remarketing those because it's valuable. Unless the sales agent is going to call them and get them right away, you might as well have that information at a very low cost since you have a very small remarketing list that you're not going to be burning the budget on.
Yeah, it's big. That's big.
Cool. So I could also build another bot. Richard, if you want to give me maybe an industry, maybe we could go freestyle and build a bot for one of those.
You pick it. I'll tell you this. So conceptually, you guys will play around with the bots. My general rule of thumb is this. If you ever answer the same question 3 times or more, it needs to be automated. In my opinion, that's my rule of thumb. I work with businesses on process optimization. I work with businesses on a lot of that kind of stuff. And I always say, same question comes up 3 or more times, it needs to be documented. It needs to be scripted. It needs to have its own process around it. And so I think he just knocked that out of the park. I might throw out there the way that this is going to integrate with pay-per lead or SEO or whatever. The way that we're able to pick up information and start feeding it into a marketing automation system like Nurture Ninja or Salesforce, whatever you're using, if we're picking up that person's information, interrupting them, right? Grabbing their information, putting them into a marketing automation sequence, what's the goal? Where are we driving them? And if you have an e-commerce site, obviously that'll be driving them to a product or an upsell or a warranty page, whatever it is. If it's for booking an appointment, if it's for any other kind of information, you're going to be able to get creative with this in ways that, we'll certainly try to cover as many ways as possible with future webinars, but like the sky is the limit. I always tell people this, listen, when I'm sitting down with a client, I say, listen, pitch me as if I don't know what you're talking about. Pitch me, and then I'm going to give them my objections, my rebuttals, my feedback. I'm going to answer the questions as naturally as possible. I tell them to do that 3, 4, 5 times. Write down everything. When they've written down everything, now build out the flow, right? So now they can build out their chatbot flow. And just as Mike's doing here, we can 100% automate the conversation. So that if somebody has, whether it's a price objection, whether it's a convenience, whatever the objection is, right? If they have an objection that's 100% a disqualifier, they're never going to get over it. Fine. Don't ever talk to them. The chatbot just took care of that. If they have an objection that is something you can overcome potentially, let them go down that flow as far as possible. We have done exceptionally well with chatbots as interruptions, delayed interruptions. We normally delay it 2, 3, 4 seconds on a landing page where we've ranked a city page. And now that you've landed on that city page, you're scrolling down and you're seeing pretty quickly you're never going to read all this content. Well, we have the little chatbot pop up. And when it does, the interaction with that thing is quick, man. So we've got a client that rents out and sells heavy equipment. People can just say, my name is John Doe. I'm looking to talk to somebody on the phone. My phone number is this, and I'm looking to rent equipment or buy equipment or whatever it is. Automatically notifies the sales manager, the VP of sales over there. He gets to assign it to whoever it is that, should be reaching out to those people. Massive, massive return on investment. So.
For sure, man. So yeah, I was just building a quick bot.
I was sitting there trying to let people know the way that I've used them in a couple different ways while you're dragging it out, man. You get like the way that you throw this bot together is kind of silly. He's clicking through while I'm rambling on for the last 3 minutes, and it'll probably take some of y'all 30 minutes to build this, and don't feel bad about it. He's built a few million.
Been doing it for a while, so it's good. But yeah, so pretty much I'm just building a quick bot for like a hairdresser, salon, barber. There's a lot of those. They are very, what I've seen from my clients personally is they always deal out of Facebook. So they're the ones actually messaging people on Facebook. So if they have a tight-knit community that are messaging them, they're going to do it through Facebook. So they're going to be like, I want to book an appointment today. And then the manager will log into their Facebook and then message them back. What's the point of that? Why waste the time, right? So, and then if they message them at 12 and then the manager comes in at 9 and the guy wanted to book an appointment at 9 and he was already scheduled, the schedule is going to be conflicting. The guy's going to walk in, he's going to be mad that no one told him, and then it's just going to be a big issue. So you can kind of automate the message flow on ManyChat and then kind of link it back to a Calendly, or if you have like another thing, maybe a Nurture Ninja has a booking sequence, but Calendly works as well.
Calendly, Nurture Ninja, Acuity, whichever one of the
whatever you want
programs you're using.
Exactly. So the main thing here is to get them to that system, and then you can even tie it back into ManyChat as a notification, or you could even tie it back into a text message. So if you do confirm that they do have a cell phone or that they're willing to give you the number, you can always confirm by that. That's always the easiest way, because no matter where they are, they're always going to be able to access it, even if they don't have Wi-Fi. I know everyone has data nowadays, but you never know.
Well, and if they are, I mean, you can always throw it back into Nurture Ninja, and Nurture Ninja can send you a push notification through the app.
Exactly. So what I'm doing here is I'm just building a trigger link. This is going to be kind of like an everyday bot where they message them, whatever they say, it's going to bring them down a specific flow. So this is going to be our intro message. So it's never going to be a ref URL. It's always going to be the intro start of the bot, as long as they have never talked to them. And then we're going to do keywords to back it up. So if they type in specific things, it'll send them down specific flows.
Walk me back through that.
Yeah, so with a ref URL, we're sending them from a place, so they have to click on a button. But say you're dealing
form and they're continuing on
exactly. But if you're dealing with people day to day, I deal with you. You cut my hair. I'm going to message you directly through Facebook. So it's not going to be a ref URL. It's going to be a direct message through Facebook. So if they message me anytime, this is going to be my base intro.
Oh, so if they just reach out through Facebook Messenger,
exactly,
they message me, this is exactly what comes back to them.
Yeah, exactly. So you can always go like, hey, first name, how can we help you today? You want to book an appointment, ask a question, buy some products.
In mail server, we would call this is an auto reply for that inbox.
Yeah, main auto reply, but we also have auto replies as well. So it's called a default auto reply, where if it can't answer a question, it'll automatically send you something else.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
So pretty much what we'll do is we'll just pretend like we're about to get. I need a haircut personally.
Me too.
Yeah. So we'll send them down. So they want to book an appointment. Awesome. Let's get to it. What are you looking to get done? So first thing we need to qualify is
what. Wait a second. That typing 2 seconds. What is that?
Yeah. So it's something you can add. It's an extra feature on ManyChat where you can add typing. So it's a delay where it looks like someone's typing in. You can use it if
look unnatural in the conversation where I'm writing a long ass message and it just automatically appeared and it's clear that it's a bot. Yeah. It's actually looking like it's typing it. Is that right? Exactly.
So there's 2 ways I look at ManyChat. You can either go right up front and be like, this is a bot. This is what we're going to do. We're going to make your life easier. Literally, that's what I tell the clients. So I'm saying I'm a bot. I'm to make it as easy and quick as possible for you to get in and get out. That's the main thing. But if the client is a hairdresser, they're dealing with these people, sometimes they're going to jump back in and then message these people as well. So you don't really want to have like a disconnect with, am I dealing with a bot or am I dealing with the actual person? Gotcha. If we can convince that the person is actually the person while it's the bot, we win. That's the main goal. Gotcha. So that's why we add the typing to make it look a little more realistic. And then we can add specific questions. So hairdresser, what are you looking to get done? Just a qualifying question. I'm looking at a haircut, trim, or dye my hair, whatever you want. We don't need to actually segment based on what they pick, unless you have specific people that do specific things, where if it's haircut, it goes to this Calendly link, where it's Jim that only does that, and then trim goes to Joe, and then dye my hair goes to Joseph.
I got a perm, it goes to Josephina.
Exactly. So pretty much you can segment it that way, and then you could check the calendar. So you could do 3 links. I'm just going to do 1. I'll put the calendar link here. Click here to book an appointment. And then you send them off. Open website. And then you just put the website URL.
Your calendar link right there or whatever.
Exactly. But like you can always have this flow running automatically. Whenever they enter, it'll automatically have this going off.
Killer.
So you can keep the engagement, keep the interaction going, and then you're never going to like lose a client because you never messaged them on time. It's always going to be right away. This is what I call the intro cycle. So like whenever they enter, you can have a specific one for first-time users as well. So if they never interacted with the bot before, you can kind of give like an explanation of what you do, and so they're not like confused of like what's happening. So if it's like the first time I'm engaging with them, I've never used the bot, you can kind of give them the spiel where it's like this is an automated bot. Where it's if they're the 3rd time user, they already know the bot works because they've been using it. And then you can also do segments right here and gather the information, people coming through the bot, and do lookalike audiences based on them as well because they're giving you information.
I feel like you just breezed through that last sentence.
Yeah, so
I want to just break it out for the people that are already sitting here with their hair blown back going, holy hell, how do I keep up with this? What he's saying is, based on the direction of the sequence, you can take follow-up actions. Some of those follow-up actions might be passing it off to a certain hairstylist because that person requested a specific action and you've got one specific hairstylist. I don't have a lot of hair, so you have somebody that just shaves head, right? I go in there and I said, I'm just looking to get my head shaved. I would get passed off to them. But if you're looking for somebody who goes through a certain part of the sequence or a couple of different various parts of the sequence, you can market to that person differently, right? So you can start putting them into custom audiences. So when you start looking at the pixels that we've talked about in some of our other trainings, and Mike's going to dive down into pixels more so than you guys even care to learn about. When we start looking at the pixels and tags, we start looking at how we're going to remarket to people based on where they end up in these sequences. You can start talking to them differently. It's how you make your ad spend go substantially further because you're not having that same preliminary conversation with everybody the same way the first time.
Yeah, exactly. So another thing to add to that would be, say you are doing book an appointment and you do sell products at the same time. So you are an e-commerce store, but you're also doing a service as well.
Sure.
You don't want to be remarketing every single person that comes to your website because you might have a service industry that does this, and then you might have a product industry that does this. So if you do segment them right off the bat where people are buying products, you can remarket them specifically with product ads where it leads to the e-commerce store, where if they are looking to book an appointment, they are getting their hair done every single week, you can send them to a specific ad as well, which is targeted more towards, it's been a month, get your haircut.
Y'all listen to that. So what he's saying is, if you sell shampoo, right, and like you don't care if the person is in, if you're in Atlanta, Georgia, and they're in Seattle, Washington, you don't care. If you're selling them shampoo, you'll sell it. But what are the odds that they're going to come in and get their haircut? Nothing. So what he's saying is you can start throwing them the appropriate ads. If they are the right target audience to come back into your store, hit them with the haircut ads. If they're not the right target audience, you just hit them with the e-commerce ads. It just saves you a boatload of money on the ad and retargeting sequences.
Yeah, so there's other ways to do it as well. You could always make a negative group based on people that add to cart or buy from you, but you might be actually cutting out business because they do work hand in hand. It's just more of a service where you want to I want to give people that are getting haircuts haircut ads, and I want to give people that are buying product ads. They might be both. They might come in and do both, and you can still service both as well because you're not doing negative groups, but this allows you not to do negative groups. Whereas if you did it on the main site, you'd be cutting out shares from both because some people might be buying and getting the service, and then you just may be cutting them out completely. So you don't really want to do that, whereas this will allow you to segment them properly.
Gosh, Mike, it's like there's a whole nother training we could go into. We could use these pixels and tags, and we could target and retarget specific audiences. Is that something that you've ever done?
A few times, once or twice.
Ever?
Yeah, once or twice. I've made a few audiences, but.
So if you guys aren't picking up what we're putting down, the marketing automation systems, you guys have heard me talk about. I've worked on automation systems for large companies. It is the scalability factor. It's the way that you get to do more without hiring an army of people. That's what I wanted you to get from this chatbot sequence. The training is not supposedly more so of like a how-to. There's a billion how-to videos out there. It's not necessarily just how-to, but it's why. Why do you do it? And what are we trying to accomplish? And when we start tying this together, because the idea here is not, I want you to memorize, like if all you did was memorize the clicks that he did, that to me is like memorizing 2 + 2. And then if we showed you on an SEO standpoint, here's how organic SEO works, you would memorize, here's 2 + 3. And, local SEO works the same way. But if anybody ever came to you and asked you to fill your own equation out, you wouldn't know how to do it. What we're trying to do is teach you how to conceptually think about math in this equation, where this feeds into organic SEO for the on-page lead gen. This translates directly into pay-per ad or pay-per lead, whichever model you want to follow under for lead gen. Like the consequences of this, or the opportunities from this, they go far and wide in the marketing world. Like, get good at the automation sequences. This Nurture Ninja has a ton of them. Like, get good at these type sequences, and you're going to be able to make money in the marketing world. This is the name of the game. This is what the future looks like in marketing. Mike, I can't thank you enough for just coming on here and teaching me a little bit about it, teaching the group a little bit about it. We're going to have you back as many times as you'll let us. I'll keep buying the beers, and I appreciate you sitting down and
Thanks so much.
Drinking a can with me, man. I really appreciate it. This has been a ton of fun. If you guys have enjoyed it, then please like, comment. If you got questions, please ask us. Please ask us. Mike's happy to jump in there. I'm happy to jump in there. I'm not as good at this as he is, fully admittedly. This is some high quality ninja shit that you guys are getting exposed to. So if you got questions on it, how can we help? Can I jump into one of the chat flows that you're trying to set up for one of your accounts? And Mike, just real quick, I don't know if the recording of this captures us, but I'm going to move this down a little bit on my screen. How do you go if somebody wanted to share a flow in the chat sequences or whatever? Could they do that by clicking on that little 3-button icon up there by publish? Could they say, well, if you'd already saved it, which we can end up sharing it, right? And if we share it, we can then just copy to clipboard, drop it right into the online group. And if somebody has questions or whatever, drop it in there. We're happy to answer your questions. So I don't know where else we go with this. I got a million different rabbit holes. You guys answer me that, right? Drop it in the comments. If you guys want to see us go down pay-per lead or pay-per-click ads that are lead gen or on-page SEO techniques, like what is it that you want to see that you got out of this? And you got that burning question. We're like, all right, now I figured out how to do a fairly simplistic chatbot. What's the next step? Ask us that question. We'll be happy to help you out. But Mike, I can't thank you enough for your time. I know the group appreciates it. We look forward to seeing you back here. Maybe the next couple of days even, and hopefully there's some things coming out soon that people will be able to reach out and contact you for if they're looking for additional services.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, man.
All right, guys, we're going to stop the recording. We'll post this live. Thanks, guys.